Everybody take your headphones off for a sec.
Oh.
Isn't
nice.
it? How much better is it with the headphones on?
Life?
How much better is the conversation with
It's
with the
amazing.
headphones on?
That's true.
It's amazing.
Be a lot better if we can crack one of those bad boys open.
One of them has beer in
Ooh.
it still. The top
I'm just
one.
kidding.
Ooh.
Don't
That sounds
do
good.
it. I have some MRAs downstairs too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those are. Didn't you find those here or something?
I bought those from a guy. The guy who sold me that tripod. He was a really sweet man. Really sweet guy. We talked about a lot. We talked about
You're a sweet guy.
he had a difficult thing. And a difficult situation in his life. I don't remember if I
sorry. talked
talked to anybody about this on this podcast yet or not.
The guy who sold you the beer and the.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he was okay. So he was clearly like something was not quite right. You know, like he had some trouble with some stuff, but he's functioning fine. And we were talking about things. I'm a talker, and then he goes, "Come back here. I want to show you something." And he shows me this. Got this room, and it's full of mattresses and nightstands and bed frames. And he's like, "I'm trying to. The reason I'm selling this stuff is because I'm trying to get a bedroom for my kids because their house burned like that upstairs with and actually their house is right there. It's like on my block. I didn't know this. He's in Cohoes or wherever. But anyway, so he's telling me, and he tells me this story about how he got into this thing with this woman years ago, and she got pregnant. And he's like, well, I'm going to do the right thing. You know, I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to do the right thing. And then, he's trying to earn some money, trying to support his family, and he got called to move some stuff. I think he was a mover or something. He got called to move some stuff, and he fell out a window. And he was like, from my perspective, I fell out a window. I fell out a window, and it was months later when he was in a coma for a while. And while he was in a coma, so then he's in a coma and he comes home, and then not long after that, this woman knocks on his door, and he opens the door, and she just starts crying, and she's telling him that she's like, are you married to this woman? And he said, yeah, and she's like clearly not trying to hurt him, just trying to do. She's like, I think she's having an affair with my husband, so she's cheating on him while he's in a coma, and that he got in trying to earn money for her and these kids, and like, man, his integrity, his ability to just keep, it's like he said, I had to leave, I couldn't be in a relationship anymore, but they'll always like, I have to. I want to care about these. I've always made sure they had what they needed. Mm-hmm. And then they live over there, and their house burned down. And then So like this woman who has every reason to hold ill will towards, to have really bad feelings towards. He's trying his hardest to get her beds and nightstands and mattresses and everything for just so these kids can have.
They're his kids, right?
They're his kids. They don't live with them, but like, and he doesn't owe them anything. You know, there's no legal obligation here.
To his kids?
Yeah.
Oh, they're good. He owes them.
You know what I mean, though. Like,
I know what you mean.
It's not legal, and it's not like he's getting the kids to himself or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We talked about. I wrote some of the things down that he said because some of them were pretty profound. It's basically like you have to get to give, or you have to give to get. You get what you give. If you when somebody hurts you, and if you lash out at them, you're going to get it back. But that's the moment you find out who you are. You find out when things are really bad. That's when you find out who you really are. Are you the type of person who can be the man you're supposed to be, the guy you're supposed to be, or do what you need to do, or are you a guy who's going to give in to any reason to hate somebody?
So you're just to repeat what you said, it's the moments when things are going bad. Is that what you said?
It's in those moments where you find out who you are.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure. We like to think we're good people. I like to think I'm a good person.
It's easy to be a nice person when you get all the green lights. You know what I mean? When everything's going right, try and be a nice person when everything's going wrong. That's
right.
Or like when people at work, your bosses and things, they're nice when things are going well, and then all of a sudden things aren't going well. and they start to show the fangs, you know.
Yeah, it's easy to
Start to
say
spread
you wouldn't do
negativity.
something when you don't have the tools to accomplish it. It's a lot harder to say I wouldn't do the thing when you do it. I think that to tie it all the way back to the beginning, it's the same with the fighting thing. You have the skills. You know,
Yeah.
you train. You have the skills to do something terrible.
Yeah.
You know more than most people who you are in those moments where you have the potential to really hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Where other people don't, they might think they're being the better person.
Mm-hmm.
They're being the bigger person, but they don't really know if they don't have the ability to do what they think. You know,
Yeah.
if they don't have the ability to act out their worst things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that situation with, what'd you say his name was? Or
I don't-
you don't have to say
I'm
his
not
name.
going to say his
Yeah.
name because
He's a buddy of yours?
he's just a guy. I've texted him a couple times. That's how I met him, and I brought him one of my nightstands because I was
Yeah.
like,
It could be, there's got to be some form of like lack of discipline or something in that, because, or lack of respect for himself, because maybe when they first started dating, like I always look at it like, is there like any red flags here? And maybe he didn't have like respect for himself, and there was things he was constantly overlooking, or something he wanted to change he didn't want, and he just didn't.
he did say that. He said it especially after the coma because he was like, I can't do anything. He was hurt. He was physically unable to do much.
Yeah.
And he said, I had a moment where I decided, what can I do?
Mm.
I'm going to do that. You know?
Yeah.
When you can't do much, it's a little harder, but I think it's more meaningful. The little thing you choose to do when you can't do much.
I'm talking about the girl, his wife that cheated on him.
I don't know the whole story there.
Yeah, you don't know the whole story, but, you know, in the beginning of it all, when he first decided this woman to be the woman for his kids, you know, something like that, he should have, maybe, I don't know, people change over time, but maybe with the whole of him going into a coma, that could have sparked something in her or something.
I think he kind of alluded to he knew
before.
Some part of him must have known.
Before.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
But he moves furniture.
I don't know what he does for a living.
Is that what you said?
I don't know if he was just I don't know exactly.
Mm.
I know that he was hired to move some stuff for this
Yeah.
old woman in the middle of the night.
Like, yeah, you know, it kind of goes to like what we were saying about I love you and love and all these other things. I think it's more about loving yourself and, you know, doing the right things for you, because I don't think anything's ever permanent anyway. And I think being so attached to, you know, especially another individual, let alone like possessions, you got to be able to learn to adapt like fairly quickly, you know, especially with something like that too. And that's why I don't know if I'll ever have kids, honestly, or get married. I just don't, you know, I don't believe in that type of thing.
No?
I think
Not for
it's
you?
not me being selfish.
I'm not accusing you of anything.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I don't think it's me being selfish. I think it's maybe a form of like protection, or, you know, preserving Earth in a way, you know what I mean? Because like they could be total a-holes. You never know, like, you know, with the way the world is going. Are they going to be an adulterer, you know, when they're older? You know what I mean? So, who knows? He should have, if you're doing the right steps towards like mental health and your well-being, you know, spiritual health, you know, things like that, maybe this never would have happened. You know, like, I forgot who I was talking to.
Do you think that the bad things that happen like that are what helps a person come to a spiritual awakening? You know?
Oh yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It definitely will. It's not, I wouldn't say necessarily like putting up a wall for like his next relationship, or, you know, I mean, it definitely, like, hard times will lead you to, you know, diamonds need pressure, you know, to make a diamond, you need pressure. That's just too much. Like, I think that's what's wrong with today. I think
The pressure?
no, living with people, living with another person, and you have like this set of rules, or this set of like, you can't give this person attention because somehow that's going to affect me and my ego.
I agree. Okay, so I really like the field of evolutionary psychology, and okay, I'm not into. I don't think the polyamory thing makes sense to me personally. I don't get it. I'm not going to judge anybody who you willingly. You're adults. You can do whatever you want, but I don't see it working. But so I'm only saying that because these evolutionary biologists are the only two people. They're either married or they're in a partnership, but they're polyamorous. So the only two people I've ever heard talk and been like, that could actually work, because the level of awareness of themselves is so incredibly high, and I don't know. I'm still skeptical about it, and I know it's not for me, but so. One of the things that made sense to me was they were like, because they were aware of most people can't do this. Most people cannot do this. Most people can't handle jealousy to the level that we can. We are so aware of our jealousy that we use it to strengthen our relationship. So like this the woman made a really good point. She said one of the things you see in relationships going stale is the woman loses interest in the man, or both. It goes both ways, right? But she's a woman, so maybe that's why she was talking about that. But yeah, it definitely goes both ways. But she was saying it helps your relationship to go do things that shows you that this person's still valued on the market. It's helpful. It's helpful for your relationship for you to see other people still want this person. It actually helps you to. It helps you to reevaluate them, because a lot of it feels stale and boring. I think it can start to feel like, well, I already got this. I've already won this.
Yeah,
and that's not a really healthy way to look at a relationship.
I've seen a lot of people fall to that.
Yeah, but I think that if you have really the amount of trust that I think is necessary for something like a marriage, then you should be okay with feeling a little jealous, because if you know deep down nothing's going to happen, and they're not trying to make you jealous. Yeah. But if there's that little feeling of like, I don't think so. That mine, that's like that's not so bad. That's not so bad if it's healthy and if it's not being used as a weapon. But a lot of trust needs to be involved in that.
Trust and setting your own, I think, boundaries is a huge deal too. Like there are relationships that I guess I felt a little envious of, because there's such a strong partnership. It's not the romantic stage or the honeymoon stage or whatever you want to call it. They're just a strong team, and their personalities are it might seem like they might be picking at each other, but it's not really what you think it is. But
that's the only type that lasts.
Those are like the strong relationships. I think Charlie and Olivia have a good relationship.
You guys have a team.
Because when they if you even want to call it arguing.
I was just about to tell a short story about with me and her.
Okay.
That's kind of related to this. So me and her have been going to this like kickboxing gym.
Yep.
It's like a kickboxing gym. It's like a fitness class-based gym. So I'm like the only guy in there. And so the ladies have noticed me. And so I try to give her lots of attention, and
they like that.
And she's never like that playful. It's just not part of her personality to kind of like be flirtatious. But there, she kind of like a cat peeing on her territory.
I like that.
But it's a lot of fun. We have fun with it though.
Right. And she doesn't. I would imagine, because you guys have a strong relationship and she trusts you and knows nothing's going to happen.
Right.
There's no ill will after. There's nothing in there after that's.
We're just having fun with it.
But that's got to be so flattering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got to make her feel a little bit better, because she's out of her box
I don't know.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a weird scenario.
It sparks you to do things for one another that you do at the beginning of a relationship. So like at the beginning of a relationship, a guy will maybe make some kind of a grand gesture, or like let her know how much he really likes her.
I make grand gestures all the time.
And girls will do things for you. Like I've had girls like at the beginning they're like, oh, let me give you a massage, let me do this for you, and then it's like, well, now I don't do that anymore because I already got you. But I think
complacent.
Yeah, and I'm not saying only like guys do it too. I do it. You start to take advantage of each other. But I think that having that little bit of jealousy helps you to be like, man, I should do something for him or her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But-
so becoming too good of friends can also, like, you're crossing that line. So like what you were saying just now, you can get like the comfortability part of it all, but I've experienced that before, like where you become too good of friends and you're not treating her as the female that she is.
Same.
And she's treating you like one of her girlfriends, you're
Yep.
treating her one of her guy friends, and then this tension
No.
happens, and
It's the wrong kind of tension.
you got to keep some of that distance.
You need
know?
sexual tension too, and sexual tension disappears in just friendship.
Yeah.
There's no sexual tension between any of us.
Yeah.
No.
But
Wait, what?
No, I'm kidding.
but you know what I mean, right?
What?
But,
What are we talking here about? Charlie's
oh wow!
bulge?
First, we're talking about how
No.
how Tom and Charlie.
Charlie's got that nice bulge.
Charlie
That's
was
what girls
upset
are
that
looking
Tom didn't
at.
say "I love you," and now we're talking about.
I get him to say it every time.
So I want.
No, you know why? Because unfortunately, I know that's what he wants. He
No,
when
I
he's like,
get him.
'cause sometimes he loves "I love you," so I'm like, all right, I love you too.
I give hugs.
There's a. I actually. I wrote something last year about this kind of topic because I had said something to some people when I was overseas about I kind of stared into the distance and I was saying something like we put on masks our whole lives and then we spend the rest of our lives trying to take them off. And he wanted me to elaborate on that. So I started to write it down and I realized how tied to marriage it was. So if you think about what you do with a child, and if you have a kid, kids are little monsters. You know, they're little monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to learn to civilize themselves. They have to learn how to behave, even if it's not who they are. You know, like they have to learn how to sit at the table and not throw a temper tantrum, even though that's exactly what you want to do. That's a mask. You know, you put on all these different masks that hide who things about you that you can't expose. You can't just blindly be an animal. You know, like you can't just blindly expose all these things about you all the time. You have to learn to not do that. Then you get into adolescence and you start to identify as masks. You know, that's the identity crisis where you start trying masks on,
Oh yeah.
like consciously. You're like,
Okay.
oh, I'm a
Yeah.
goth. That's who I am.
Right.
And you identify as the mask. And then you realize that this is all bullshit. And you start to think, I want to know who I am. I want to be with people as me. So you find groups that you can take certain masks off with. Like maybe you reunite with your family and you find, oh, I can take off a bunch of these masks with my family, but I can't take off all of them because I have to fulfill a role here. And then you have friends, same thing. I can take off different masks with my close friends, but I can't take off all of them. And my conclusion is that's what marriage is for. Marriage is for, you say, you're stuck with me, I'm stuck with you, and we're both going to try really hard to reveal who we really are.
Yeah.
And you're not
Take off
going to
all
be
your
mad
masks.
at me. You're not like, if I do something wrong, you're going to trust me to be better, or you're going to push me to be better, and I'm going
Yeah.
to do the same for you, and we're going to try really hard to find out who we really are.
Yeah.
But you can't, like, finding out who you really are alone only goes so far.
Yeah.
When you're alone, you can only find, you need somebody to ridicule you. You need a mirror. You need you need somebody to bounce that off of, and that's why I think marriage, the function of marriage is to, and I think you need sex, and I think you need the sexual energy. Like you need that,
Yeah.
like you need sexual tension. You couldn't do it with your best friend. You know, you couldn't.
Yeah.
And I actually, so then I started rethinking it, and I was like, I wonder if that's why PTSD, guys who were in war, who have severe PTSD, their marriages suffer. And I wonder if it's because the woman knows he's never going to show me a part of him that he shows the guy who he was in battle with. You know, like there's when you're
Because they want to know, like,
Yes,
what happened.
they
like,
do.
You see a lot of women like
but
that.
the guy's never going to show.
those
Like
cases.
a lot of times, I feel like they're like, you'll never understand this. You weren't there. You don't understand what I've done. You don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand
That's
what I've
deep.
done. And so you share it with your buddy, with your war
Yeah.
buddy. But it can destroy a marriage. I think it can. It doesn't have to. I'm not saying it has to.
Yeah.
I think
Okay. I got a good story for you. Did you guys? I think it's is it the The Wall of Dawn, or did you see that documentary on
Wall
Netflix?
of Dawn.
Okay. Did you see Free Solo with Alex
Yeah.
Holland? Alex Holland?
I didn't.
You didn't see that?
No.
Okay, there's a guy on that show, on that movie. It's one of his really good buddies. Okay, this documentary is about him. It's not Alex Holland.
Rock
but
climber?
He's a rock climber. He's a very famous
Have you heard of the
rock climber.
Have you heard of Free Solo? It won an Academy Award.
I think I've heard of it. I think you've told me.
The guy's
National
just
Geographic.
climbs up with no ropes.
Yes. Yeah, you
Yeah.
told me. Sounds
Yeah.
insane.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's got a best friend that has climbed. He was like the first one to climb El Capitan and make all these different routes up El Capitan. It's one of the hardest mountains to climb. Is it a face? What would you call it? Mountain?
Yeah,
What'd you
I
call
mean, it's the.
What do you call it?
Cliff, face cliff, or
Yeah.
cliff
Anyway,
face.
so this
It's huge.
a lot of I wouldn't really, I don't know. You see, like Alex Holland and this other kid, other man, they were, I guess, like nerdy rock climbers. Like they didn't know anything else but rock climb.
Right.
So they're kind of like introverted. That's all they wanted to do was rock climb. And this kid never had any interaction with women. And he gets brought to, his parents brought him to his dad was this jacked bodybuilder, like huge bodybuilder. So his son, he got his son into rock climbing to give him some confidence, whatever. So he wanted to impress his dad, and he just became this real freak. He brought him to this one event, and it literally put his name on the map. Like he was this 14, 15-year-old boy, and he was smoking everybody. And he just went right up this wall. And so he started going to all these events, and then he met this girl. And he was just like in love at first sight, because she was a freak of nature too, the way she climbed. And he would start planning on going to these other events or where she might be. And eventually they had a little fling together, his first girlfriend ever, and they end up doing everything together. When they were about 18 years old, they went to some Muslim Russian territory. I don't know what country it was. And they went with one rock climber and one photographer. And they're climbing up this face or wall or whatever, and they pitched a tent against the wall. You never see that? Mm-hmm. Like in the middle of the route. So they're just hanging there. So they're sleeping, and all of a sudden they hear gunshots. And now they're hearing the gunshots literally right next to their tent. It's pinging right off the rock. And they think they're going to die. And they're this Muslim revolting, militia is telling them to come down off the mountain now. They get down off the mountain, and they think they're going to die. And they're like 18 years old. And they're speaking to them in Russian. They don't understand what's going on. And so they end up getting to their tents down below at their base camp, and all the food's ripped apart. Their tents are shredded apart. Like they destroyed everything. So they had no food. And now they started making them walk. And, a couple days goes by, and they realize that they've been walking in circles. They have no clue where they're going. Like the militia people. And some of the people that captured them ended up never coming back. So they assumed that they died. They never came back. There was like a battle. They heard a battle going on somewhere else, and they're terrified for their lives. They're like on their last, leg. They have no food, no water. It's been days. And they ended up some of the militia members ended up getting split up. And now they got one person taking them up this steep mountain. It's just like, I picture like Hobbit, like they're going up this huge, Lord of the Rings, they're going up this huge mountain, and it's just the three or four of them and this soldier with an AK-47. And they tell the rock climber, they're like, should we push him off the mountain? So they're talking to each other, and they keep walking, and they're like, all right, now's the time, we got to do it. So they're about to do it, and then they stop. The guy turns, and then they get a little spooked, and they keep walking. And then he goes to the girl that he loves, and he says, should I push him off? And she didn't answer. And he took that as a yes. And then when she was interviewed, she said, I kept saying yes in my head, and then no, and then yes, and then no, and she didn't say anything. So he took that as a yes. So the guy gets to the ledge, and he grabs his strap of his gun, and he just pushes this guy off the cliff. And they see him, he smacks this ledge, and then he just falls into darkness.
Jesus Christ.
So he had to kill this man at this very young age. So to go back to what you were saying about the love and all this thing, so they were connected by that moment. So they got a house together, and they were like 25 minutes away from El Capitan.
She saw his worst potential.
She saw his worst potential, but she was trapped by that moment.
But she saw it in manifest in a way. I get it. She saw the truth of him in that moment.
So she actually was haunted by that forever.
Mm-hmm.
And like what you were saying about these soldiers coming back, having PTSD, that was the only thing she felt tied to him. So she ended up leaving him, like divorcing him. And, until they were like 40 something years old. And she couldn't, it was always like haunting her in a way. So every time she looked at him, she remembers of what he had to have done. So like what you were saying, how it ruins marriages. And it was crazy too. But also he ended up cutting off his crimping finger. He was doing carpentry, and he cut off his crimp finger. That's like the most important finger when it comes to rock climbing. And everyone was like, he's done. He's cashed. He'll never come back from this. And that's when he did all the Capitan routes, and he became like the Kobe Bryant at that time. But yeah, later after all that, she ended up leaving him because she was just so haunted by that. But it's like, imagine that, dude. Imagine being captured and had to have killed a man, pushed him off of the cliff.
It's crazy.
Oh, man.
But does that go against your theory now?
No, I don't think it does. I think that means that wasn't if she couldn't handle who he really was.
Okay.
But he didn't even know who he was. He felt like,
I know, but and in a way, it happened in a way that it shouldn't. It happened in an artificial, tough way. But I think I'm an idealist and a romantic in a lot of ways. So there's a part of me that says no, that's not his match. That's not the one. The one who would have like really love. The real word love would be the one who would say, I see you. I see all that's horrible about you and all that's wonderful about you. And I'm going to stick here with you. And we're going to try to be better. And I'm going to show you do the same for me, because I'm just as messed up as you are. I'm just maybe not in the same way. Maybe I would never push a guy off a cliff, but I bet I would do something else. I bet I would do all sorts of other terrible things in order to survive. Because we are surviving machines.
But he killed for the life of the group.
I mean, arguably, she wouldn't be here to divorce him if he hadn't done it. We don't know that, but.
And you should see like the interview if you get a chance. Watch it. It's on Netflix, I believe. But
what is it called again?
Something Dawn.
Okay, that sounds.
The Wall of Dawn
or
something like that. But you see how young they are when they are going on talk shows and they're asking them like what happened, and they look like 16, dude, 17. Yeah. They look so young.
That is too young for that to happen.
Think of the trauma, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it's the guy. I can't help finding like that admirable about him. He could do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that. Like, it sounds like it's not something he wanted to do.
No.
It's not something he got any joy out of. This is something that probably messed with him.
You got to figure they're thinking, can they just disarm him? But
that's a risk.
Easier. Yeah, it's a risk.
That's like what you guys have talked about in the ring. It's life or death. It's not really, but you have to get into that mind if you really want to be effective. Against an enemy, you have to be in that sort of kill or be killed mentality. You can't. It's the same reason why cops don't pull their gun unless they actually are willing to shoot it. You don't or pull the trigger. You don't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Without the intent to kill.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using a gun, the goal is to kill the person. You don't maim, because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Pulling the trigger
That's the hard part. That was my hardest part in fighting.
getting
was
into that.
the kill or be killed type mentality. And, I want to have another fight in the fall and try to just take a run at it. You know what I mean? And just as many fights as I can possible to see how far I can take it, because it drives me nuts.
When are you fighting?
I want to fight like the fall.
Can I come to your fight?
Yeah. I really want to do it the right way because I feel like I'm in a better mental state of mind. That's always been like my weakness.
You do seem in a very balanced
yeah
state of mind. I mean, I don't know. I haven't known you very long.
Yeah.
I met you a couple of years ago. I do think you're in a different state of mind than you were a couple of years ago when I met you.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of weight has been lifted off my shoulders recently. But what you were saying about the kill or be killed type thing, like the only way I think I could get close to that, because that's hard for me because I am a nice guy, I like to say. It's like a better life for me, like at least mentally,
I've wondered that because I mean I've never been in the ring like that, but
yeah.
I've wondered if you have to have for maybe if you are not the type of person like you, but if you are like you must have to have a lot of trust in the game, in the sport, to take care of, because if you really want to get into that mindset, you have to, the part of you that says this, I can't do this, has to be appeased by knowing, not just thinking, but knowing. If it goes that far, somebody will take care of this. Somebody else is going to take care of. Somebody else will jump in and make sure it doesn't go too far. Yeah, it's not your job. Like, it's a weird thing about the sport you do. It's
I always
civilized warfare.
I can feel it sometimes. I'll imagine it, taking a hard shot and then falling on the ground, and then just like a whole 185 pounds of weight. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I think it was the heavy bag was just spinning.
Was that, or was that the bulldog?
It could be the bulldog.
Anyway, so yeah, all that weight coming down, haymaker right on my face, just put me out, dude. Like all that pressure. Like, I also feel like it's like a car accident, just your body can only take so much pressure. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you ever think about getting in a real fast wreck? Or like a
scares
plane crash?
Did you see Matt Hughes in the UFC?
Yeah.
That's why I'm afraid of motorcycles. I think they're really cool, but I'm afraid of them.
Yeah.
I told you what happened to me?
No.
A couple months ago?
No.
Oh,
I was going 40 miles an hour. This guy runs an intersection. I'm on a moped. Sends me in the air.
That's the second crash for that day.
Second day. You're not going that fast.
No.
It doesn't matter. That's the thing that scares me about the motorcycles is there's nothing between you and wherever you go.
It's so bad.
That's right. You're in the open.
Yeah,
there's no seatbelt.
People are wearing jeans. Like,
when are they going to put seatbelt on these things?
No way. Should come crush your spine.
No, they should have like they should have like.
I just pictured that. I was like, oh.
They should have eject buttons that shoot you up in the air and give you.
You know what they should have, and they've had it in science fiction movies sometimes, and they've even kind of have it where they have these vests that kind of turn into an airbag.
That's what I was thinking. They should.
It should just explode into foam so that it's just like this giant. Foam,
that's a good idea.
Like, it's been in like movies and stuff. I think Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. Remember
that surfer?
Remember that?
That's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
That surfer invented a life jacket that inflates. Like if you get knocked out unconscious, I think it goes to a certain depth, and it just blows up and it brings you back to the surface. Like because a lot of surfers will hit their head on the surfboard or something. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever see that table saw where if you like put a hot dog to it?
I wanted one.
Oh, I saw that.
That actually, I bought my table saw from a guy who was selling it because he bought one. Wow. It's expensive though. It's expensive to replace. Like if you actually touch it and it goes and it break, like the brake mechanism that stops the blade.
Yeah,
is very expensive to replace.
Yeah, you had to replace. I think you probably showed me that.
Yeah.
How good do you think this podcast was?
I think it was really interesting. I think that we talked about
right.
the love thing.
First
I'm
one.
not satisfied.
First one.
I'm not satisfied.
I do want to say this. I'd like to have you guys on again.
All right.
Like I think this could be a regular thing because
Yeah, I was not prepared. I apologize.
Dude,
You didn't
you're
need
good.
to be
You didn't-
prepared, you don't need to be
I
prepared.
think you're.
I have another topic though that we don't talk about, but I think it's really interesting. Like when I was fighting, I don't have the same fighting background that he does.
This guy teaches me everything I know.
No, but like I don't like I had a lot of amateur fights, but never under the lights like you were. Like you've been, you fought at casinos and things like that.
Yeah.
Like fight camp, you never ever can think it's perfect. Like
No.
you're always you have to accept a certain amount of chaos, and there's
I've noticed that about you is that you are a perfectionist.
Yeah, and so you have to accept some chaos because you're like, I'm gonna do it right this time. But we
I'm gonna-
always say that.
I do. Yeah, he's getting ramped up right here.
It's because he's coaching you.
You want to hear something?
Is that what you do in the corner? You're like,
No, you want to hear?
Remember
no,
what I told you
am.
right before your last fight?
It doesn't matter, right?
I was like, I don't know. I was like, you're not the physical body. Like this isn't real. I told you like it's all
It's
an
not.
illusion.
That's another thing I want to talk about. It isn't real, dude.
what isn't real?
You're at such a high when you're in the ring, when you're fighting, and you have to get almost into that meditative like airplane mode, so it's on all reaction. Because my best times is when the fight's over, my family and friends are telling me what happened because I'm kind of blank.
I definitely get that. It's the same. It's the same as like if you're playing baseball and you throw a pitch and the ball gets hit right back at you.
Yeah.
That's not something you think about.
Yeah.
No.
That's something
not
that
thinking.
you don't know why you don't know how or why you did it.
Yeah.
But you did it. You caught the ball. It's not something even just hitting a baseball
Yeah.
that's thrown at you at 99 miles an hour. Like that's
Yeah.
you don't do that
Well,
from
he's talking about that chaos. I've never ever had good training. Never felt like I won in training. Never anything. I always felt like I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do in this fight. I'm just gonna do what I can, type thing. Like it's not like I ever trusted my training. So
I have seen athletes who are like really well prepared and they feel well prepared, but I think there's always an element of like not kind of feeling like it's done or that you're never gonna reach that perfection sort of thing.
It's good to have an aim at an ideal.
Yeah.
But without the ideal, there's no room for an aim.
Right.
The aim is more important than where you are, than where
Yeah.
you are on it. Where you are on it matters.
And the same thing with
know?
functional patterns. I mean, like we haven't talked about like in order to do it the day to day to reach that perfection, it's like it really requires a lot.
It requires a lot.
And so what are you doing every day? Like are you like can you accept like just doing 5 minutes, or when you start you're like I have to do 3 hours to be perfect and I do this every day, know?
No, I remember
But
you
know
said
what
that to me.
do you know what I mean though?
Yeah,
like
I remember.
you stay stagnant. You don't move because I'm just talking in general because maybe I'm talking about myself with stuff. Like you don't move just by if you just don't accept a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do a little bit.
Can I make
do a little bit.
a little bit of a biblical sort of a reference here?
Yeah.
Let's hear it, baby.
So I mean, there's this whole idea that the best way to visualize it for me is a week. Like God worked for 6 days and took the seventh day off. So there's like everything. You have to leave room for what doesn't fit. You have to leave room. I'm trying to I gotta find a good way to put this. So you order things, right? That's what you're talking about, getting things properly ordered, having it structured right.
I know you're
right. But you have to leave room for the stuff that doesn't fit. If you don't, then it comes in anyway.
The error bars.
Yeah, right. It comes in anyways. it. But if you have a day specified for it, so like 1/7, let's say, just to use the week, some percentage for allowing in the chaos. Actually, that's why we have carnivals and parties, and why we have holidays. Christmas is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is where you let a little bit of chaos in. You celebrate it a little bit. You don't stick to your diet on that day. You don't. Your
routine's different.
Your routine breaks down in those moments.
But then a lot of people put protocols in that, though.
A carnival is a perfect example of it. It's where nothing makes sense. You play games and they don't work. You can't. Everything.
House of Mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. It's a place where you specifically go to enjoy, where nothing makes sense, where it's all chaos.
That's a good podcast name.
House
What
of
is-
Mirrors.
The Carnival.
The carnival.
The Carnival.
It's like life. Nothing makes sense.
Nothing does make sense, and it makes sense because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, did you see that commercial where the kid's at the carnival? And I think it might be an insurance commercial. And he's like, the young boy goes to the carny and he's like, "What happens if someone gets hurt?" And he goes, "We just pick up and go to the next town." And that's what happens. Did you hear at the?
It was terrible.
It was in Ohio.
It's funny though.
Or it was before Saratoga. It was before the Saratoga Carnival. Someone got killed, or was it right after?
No, that's not funny.
No, so it was from They went from Saratoga to Ohio. So in Ohio, something happened where they put the roller coasters too close to each other, or the Ferris wheels, and they collided.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I don't get on carny rides.
dude.
They kind of scare me.
Oh yeah.
How do you guys feel about rides? Because now at this age, I don't know what it is. Maybe there's something off.
I can't handle it
I get
anymore.
so sick now.
Yeah,
I
me
used
too.
to love rides,
Me
dude.
too. I used to ride them 7 times in a row, and I
Oh.
can't handle it anymore.
The only thing I can't do is roller coasters that go backwards.
Or upside down.
Oh.
Can you go upside down?
Only I can if it's not backwards.
The boomerang is not
A
your thing.
boomerang makes me feel like my neck's gonna break. I like resist it.
Yeah.
I get nervous about what's
Yeah.
behind me. I can't like let myself just enjoy it.
Do you-
So my body goes.
I just like the water
Do you
park.
scream? Do you scream on roller coasters, or do you
No.
remain stoic?
I hold it.
I hold
Stoic?
it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
stoic.
call it stoic. It's stoic would be like unaffected, but I'm more like
It's interesting, actually. The personality of people, like guys, like usually females are usually screaming, but guys are either like ah, or a lot of people just
do
sit
that
there.
thing.
I get
stoic.
tired.
You're the stoic one.
I try.
That's how
Or
I
yeah,
am.
Tom. I guarantee Tom's just gonna be like,
Puking.
he's got his eyes up real high. I know you'd be doing.
I'm trying to see the next titty slip. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you ever unbuckle your seatbelt on the Comet?
Dude, the Comet, it's so old, but like
The greatest
you're
escape.
getting
fun,
whipped.
though.
You're like, "Zoosh."
It's fun.
Settlement. No.
I always really like the Steamin' Demon. I don't know why. I just like.
I always hated that one.
Oh, the one in the front.
yeah,
The very
yeah.
I like that one.
It's just smooth. It's very
It's
smooth.
not. It was never smooth. I thought it really
How
jerked
about-
you
It doesn't.
around.
It does jerk you around, but the track is smooth.
What's
There's
the-
no like rocking.
Okay.
Is that Paul Bunyan's bucket that fills up with water?
Yeah, that's cool.
That one scared me
Dude.
as a kid.
I don't mind taking them little kids' heads and throwing them out of the way because they get right up there. They know when it's time to get freaking dunked on.
Get
and
out
they're
of
in
my
the way. They're in the way. The last time I was
Yeah.
there, I couldn't get close to it. So this is me as I walk in. Don't. I don't care. I play rough at these places. Come on, I paid
I
the
don't
same
care how
price
old
you
you
did.
are. I don't care how old you are. This isn't your park.
Get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I haven't gone to I haven't been on a ride in a long time.
What do
You
you
wanna
guys think
Yeah, I
about?
kind of do.
I kind of
Like-
do too.
I know it's copying, but we could do like a fight companion type thing.
A fight companion.
If we watch something.
Dude, I'm trying to do other things. So I got a book club. I got
Yep.
some people doing the book club.
Yep.
I'm going to talk
I
to
saw
some
the
people.
list.
I might do a movie club.
Yes, I was gonna ask
So,
you about
yeah,
that.
I don't know how that'll work. I don't know. Like, I think the problem with the movie club is way more people are going to be interested in it than I can handle. So I'm going to have to be careful about how I do it.
Yeah.
But very interested in doing a movie club. I would be cool to do that.
You know what we should do when it gets warmer?
It's pretty warm now.
No, it ain't. It's cold.
Today was cold.
What's that river that you float down? You ever do that?
Bat and kill.
Oh, the Bad and Kill.
Let's go down.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I haven't
Dude,
done it in a couple
take
of
the
years.
microphones. Take the whole setup.
No.
Yeah.
No, just have a good day. Get
No,
really-
but
I
think-
love Bat and Kill.
I'm going
Get-
camping this year.
get really
I haven't gone
baked.
camping in too many years. I'm going camping this year. If you guys want to come,
Like camping.
I
yeah.
want to go actual camp.
Hiking camp
When?
or just camp camp?
Anytime.
I'm bringing
Just
my
some-
my RV van setup, whatever I got going. That's
All right, cool.
I'm so down for all camping, anything
I
camping.
like camping. Where do you want to go?
I don't care. I just want to sleep outside.
Yeah. Yep.
Outside or like in a tent?
Have you guys
It's a
gone
tent.
to any hikes recently? Like, have you gone? on any-
There's a hike I want to do down closer to Woodstock that like goes through an old, I think it was an old hospital or something.
People that
That's creepy.
People that I talk to that go up to the Adirondacks and hike are saying that it's way more crowded than it ever has been.
It's like,
And I'm wondering
Mount
why.
Everest. Because it's a
Like
thing now.
because of the thing. That's
It's a
right.
thing now.
The
Because of
Instagram.
Instagram.
Right.
Because people want to make everyone know.
So that's the negative perspective.
Yeah.
We know what that is. Now, could it also be?
That,
This is my more positive spin on it. Could it also be that since we're so connected and we're on our phones all the time around all this electronics, when people go outside and they're in a place where, they're disconnected from the service of their phone, they don't have any data, they sort of see the contrast of like being in nature versus this which wasn't so strong before, you
Yeah.
know? And so maybe they sort of,
I definitely agree.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's a lot of things. People don't have something in their life to feel purpose from without sharing a picture of it. That affects it.
Right.
But there is this sort of, everything is so techy now. Everything is so technological. I want to reunite
Right.
with nature.
But
I wanna
even
get
then
away
they
from
make it techie by taking
Yeah, they
pictures.
bring their phone. It's
Yeah,
weird.
and dropping garbage.
I
and-
mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm not gonna act like
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I want to get rid of it. Anything I
Flip
feel
phone.
anything I feel addicted to, I just want to stop.
Yeah, the phone.
Coffee.
YouTube.
Jimmy quit
that's hard.
coffee.
I quit coffee.
How long have you been going? What?
And the man's got
Since
he
May
looks at an
4th.
espresso machine
know.
every day.
I get up and I look at that thing and I'm like,
Do you look at it?
man.
What do you say to it?
Damn,
say-
son.
I say, I see my reflection in you and I don't like it.
Well,
Ooh.
that poor thing
I
must
like
be
that.
upset. You think the espresso machine?
Well, now it's for guests. I can make it for other people.
Mm.
Also, I think once fall comes around, I'll be ready to add some decaf in. I can do decaf espresso. It's not like the best.
So
but
are you going off caffeine forever? You think, or
I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
We'll see.
We'll
I didn't
see.
feel good when I had some iced tea.
yeah.
Messed with me.
Yeah.
we'll see. I didn't feel good. I had
We'll
iced
see.
tea. It messed with me.
I was rapping for you a little bit there.
Sorry.
Why are you looking at me, dude? I ain't the podcast police.
Oh shit. Oh, so a couple things before we end. You don't have to answer this now, but I started a playlist on Spotify. So
Yeah.
everybody who comes on gets to pick 2 songs, and I add it to the playlist. It'll just ever be growing. So
Okay.
Yeah. So you get, if you want, you send me two songs, any 2 songs. Doesn't matter what they are. Charlie's saying anything.
Send 2 songs.
Yeah. Any songs.
Why? What's it for?
I'm adding it to a playlist. So everybody who comes on the podcast gets to pick 2 songs to add to the playlist. So it's. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see how it.
So this is just for you.
This is I share it. I'll share the playlist.
Or like, well, it doesn't get played. It's just
It's on Spotify. So like
okay.
if you have Spotify, I can share this playlist link. And
That's
the other
cool.
thing is we
That's
got to
cool.
do a picture with the arm.
Ah.
Everybody. That's the thing. Everybody's gonna do a picture with the arm.
Does the arm stay there, or do you bring the arm down?
I bring it. We do whatever you want with it.
All right, we'll have to experiment.
All right, guys. What do you say?
Let's call it.
All
Call
right.
it. All right. Thanks for doing this. Come back sometime.
We're gonna.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for the hospitality.
I'm not happy with this podcast.
I feel like you're never gonna be happy with any podcast.
I will when I get smarter.
Oh.
Back to reality.
Back to life.